So this is like the third example that I'm going to show. It's slightly more complex, but it's kind of reiterating whatever I already said about it. This just adds one more interesting hint of what you can do with it, especially with expansion. Because the compression, sidechain compression, multiband compression is really interesting, and it's a incredible tool for mixdowns, because as I was highlighting it, you will be able, and that applies to every element. You know, I only showed a couple examples, but you can literally apply that to every element. So whenever any frequency of one part of one channel of your song is clashing with the frequency of another channel or part of your song, then you know, again, you have the choice to choose which one prevails over the other in a way that it's not even very noticeable. So it will flow like naturally, but just everything will sound like it has space without what usually happens is when a louder element comes in, everything else sounds quieter. While with this technique, you will manage to have everything being perceived as at the same loudness while it evolves during the track and while new elements come in. But they won't take the whole spectrum of what was already there. They just will take away some frequencies. And most of the times you will see that taking away just some frequencies doesn't really change the character of the channel you're taking the frequencies away from, but it just makes space for other elements. And so anyway, this was a little bit of a recap of what we've seen before. Here I will just like show it very in a very simplified form, but I want to keep it a little bit simple so that it's a bit obvious what's happening. And so the same thing that you can apply to sounds, voices, synthesizers, kick drum, basses, you can apply also to grooves, and in this particular instance to hats, so that you know, I'm just gonna play. This is the main hat top loop that there is in this song. Let me just play it first. So I'm going to open the multiband to see what's actually happening. So what I did here is it's two different things, and that's also the beauty of it. You can do different. You can have it doing at least a couple or three different tasks at the same time. So this is like this is a hat. I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play it bypassed, so you can hear the highs are really harsh. And this is a hat recorded with this drum machine here. This is a replica by Roland of the 808. I highly recommend you should buy one right now, because they're gonna discontinue it very soon, and it's gonna go up in price quite a bit. But some issues with the hats there is the high frequencies are very harsh at times, and if you're older you might not hear it, because also me at my age, you tend to lose those frequencies. But you always should keep in mind that anything above 12k hertz is very annoying, especially to people who are young, because they still have that range. Usually goes away after you're 24 years old, the latest. But before that, those frequencies are really piercing. So what I did here, if I have to just isolate the first thing that I did, is a little bit like a de-esser. So I just had the highest frequencies of the hi-hat ducked down a little bit, and their sidechain actually here to a simple kick. So here specifically, I didn't want the high frequencies of the hat to clash with the high frequencies of the attack of the kick, because that together would really, in a club when it's really loud, would have your ears bleed. So I just curbed them by 6 dBs, as you can see. Gonna bypass it. So as you can hear, the frequencies are a bit more curbed, they're less harsh to your ears, and it's a little subtle, but whenever you do something like this, you add some dynamics. So I'm gonna play it again after this. If you can pay attention, when I bypass it here, you will hear it's a little bit more present, the high frequencies are more harsh, but it's also more flat. And when I put it back on, you will hear that the hats are moving in volume quite a little bit, and more unpredictable, which gives again what I was saying before, that human touch that is so difficult to program. But this is a really good way to have it introduced in an artificial way if you want, but quite effective. So again, I'm going to play it on and bypassed. And that's as for that. So you could hear it, it's subtle, but it really adds something. But another thing that I want to do with this hat, because the mid frequencies are actually quite warm and not very loud, so I wanted to do the opposite with those. Instead of having the volume go down, I want the volume to go up. So let's see what's happening here in this frequency range. So as you can hear, it's quite subtle here because it's not very loud, these frequencies. As you can see, they're quite low. But again, it still adds more movement that wasn't there. And it's still preferable. And I'm going to play it with both bands on and bypass it. This is without. What I did at the very end here was to bypass and then put it back on. And I don't know if you noticed, but I think to sum it up, you know, even if you don't want to go too much into detail, it's just making your elements move more, and there's quite a natural thing about having a wide range of volume with your instruments, with everything. that keeps the song moving, and it adds a lot more dynamic without having to resort to anything else. So it's a good idea to have the same element have, at least most times, to have quite of a wild range of dBs. So it could be 12 dBs lower than the lowest note, or the lowest hit could be as lower as 12, even more dBs than the highest one. Because usually when you program into with drum machines and into software, everything tends to not have that much of a range of difference in volume, and that's what makes it flat, and also what creates issues with the mixdown, because then everything is loud all the time.